Good morning, student. This is my introduction. Dimpy S. Tiwari will continue OC subject. So let's start with the lecture. Yes, student. In last lecture we have covered thoughts of management 2.2, internal content, classical thoughts, neoclassical thoughts, behavior related thoughts and modern thoughts. So hope so you have done with the revision in last lecture, and even you have maintained the book also as I have instructed. So let's start with the new topics. Here is the today's topic: Frederick Taylor's Principle of Scientific Management. We will discuss meaning, definition, principle of scientific management, techniques of principle of scientific management. Here are the three techniques which we are using in the scientific management. First is time study, second motion study, and the last is different wage rate study. One more I am going to introduce in this lecture, that is fatigue study. Although that is not in your syllabus, but you must know about the studies. Only one point has mentioned in one paragraph, but I am going to reflect what is meant by fatigue study with the help of example. But fatigue studies is not there in your syllabus. Again I am repeating. You just revise time study, motion study and different wage rate study. So let's start with today's lecture. Yes, student, this is the today's topic: Frederick Taylor's Principle of Scientific Management. Who is Frederick Taylor? Why his principle is required? Although we have studied in the last lecture what is management, then why scientific management? So these are the question comes in our mind when we are supposed to start up the business. Some of the phases we are supposed to face. So at that time his principle will help us a lot. So this is the important in management criteria. We'll start with the introduction of Frederick Taylor. After on we will discuss his scientific management theory, that is principle of scientific management theory. So let's start with the introduction. Here is the introduction of Frederick Taylor. Frederick Winslow Taylor was American mechanical engineer. He was the American mechanical engineer. As I have highlighted the point, kindly see the same point. American mechanical engineer. Frederick Taylor was an American mechanical engineer and important contributor in classical thoughts, as we have discussed in last lecture. Important contributor in classical thoughts. In the starting phase, he joined as apprentice in a factory. Apprentice, that means trainee. As a trainee, he has joined in the factory. After contributing in various companies, he became a manager in Baltimore Steel Company. During this period, F.W. Taylor, that is Frederick Winslow Taylor, for the first time presented principle of scientific management, and hence he is known as the father of scientific management. Repeating the point, he was the American mechanical engineer, contributed in the classical thoughts. He was started his first phase as an apprentice in the factory, as a trainee in the factory. Later on, he has joined as a manager in Baltimore Steel Company. During this period, he faced a problem in the business. How to get the work from the people? The management is not working in a good proper way. So he has presented the principle of scientific management. That is why the scientific management required, because of the problems. So he presented the principle of scientific management and he became the father of scientific management because he has introduced the same. This will ask in your board examination, who is the father of scientific management? Frederick Winslow Taylor, F.W. Taylor, any option will come in your examination. So refer the same. With the help of diagram, we can understand what are the problems in business he is facing. Which kind of problem? Let's see with the help of this diagram. Again repeating, this is the introduction part of Frederick Taylor. But I am reflecting the diagram to understand the concept. So let's start with the same business unit. Two phases are there, owners, workers. In business unit, two important persons are there, owners and workers. Owner's purpose is profit and wealth. Worker purpose is higher wages and job satisfaction. So, you can see the purpose. In business, we can see the different purpose. Two phases are there, owners and workers, but their purpose are different, profit and wealth, higher wages and job satisfaction. So how they are supposed to accomplish the objective, to get more profit, to increase the salary? If the owner will think about them, about profit and wealth, if the worker will think about them, about the job satisfaction and higher wages, how the company will get his goodwill in the market? Does it possible? No. So, because of that different purpose in the same organization, in same business unit, two different phases, that is owners and workers, are having different purpose, how they are supposed to accomplish the same objective, that is the same profit. So, the conflict comes, the conflict arises between them. Last line, as a result, because of the different purpose, as a result, conflict arises in maintaining harmony between two groups. Two main groups are there, owner and worker. Two different purposes are there, profit and wealth, higher wages and job satisfaction. So because of the different purpose, the two groups are facing conflicts and they won't be able to create the harmony relation, polite relation, common goal oriented relation is not possible. So conflict comes and they are not supposed to maintain the harmony between the two groups. So you can see the problem in the business unit. According to the management, owners has to give order and worker has to follow the same, right? But here what we are looking at, both are having different purpose. So over there, see the note point, over there Frederick Taylor challenged this traditional method and started to develop new method. This is the traditional method, owner has to order, worker has to follow. But Frederick Taylor challenged this traditional method and started to develop new method, that is scientific management. What is the traditional method? Why Frederick Taylor challenged the traditional method? You know very well. Owner has to order to the middle level management, middle level to the bottom level management. This is the actual way of getting work done through others. But this is the traditional method. Here you can see the para. Workers were asked to do work as per order in traditional method. This is called rule of thumb. This is called rule of thumb. I have given you order, anyhow complete the same. If they are facing any kind of problem, they are not ready to listen the same. This is not a good way to get the work done from other. Even we have to give them chance to hear them at least once. So, traditional method is all about rule of thumb, which is not good, not for business, not for workers. There was no voice of workers, dominance of owners increased. That means if workers are not increasing their voice because they are not allowed to speak any word, the dominance of owners increased day by day. That what Frederick Taylor noticed at the time of working as a manager. Thus, this time Taylor presented new concept with scientific approach instead of rule of thumb. Rule of thumb is the traditional method. Scientific approach is all about scientific management. Who has introduced the scientific approach? Taylor. And he became the father of scientific management. Last line, which is known as scientific management. What is known as scientific management? Scientific approach is known as scientific management. Traditional method is known as rule of thumb. Clear? So, the way of rule of thumbing to get the work done from other is not applicable in all kind of business what Taylor observed. So, he has presented scientific approach, that is scientific management. Hope so you have understood about the introduction of Frederick Taylor, why he has presented the scientific approach, why it is required because of the disputes, conflict between the owner and the worker. It is required to introduce the scientific approach, which is appreciated in management. So let's start with the next point, that is 2.3.1 meaning. Introduction we have done. Meaning. Whose meaning? Scientific management. Scientific management is a mental revolution on the part of particular unit of employee in factory. We have to look after the mental revolution of particular unit of employee in factory. It's a totally mental revolution towards the task, duties, colleagues and owners. They are supposed to look after mental revolution towards task, duties, colleagues and owners. This is called meaning of scientific management. Next, 2.3.2 definition. Definition of scientific management. As said by Frederick Taylor, knowing exactly what you want your men to do and see to it they do it in the best and cheapest way. You want to get the work done from other, but how? That you should see to it, and in the best and cheapest way you can get work done by others. Worker to concentrate on them, how they are doing the work, and to see they do it certainly at least expense in scientific management. That means optimum utilization of resources, less cost, more productivity, less expense, least expense and more productivity, or in a better productivity. That is the target of scientific management. Now, after looking at the meaning and definition, according to the Taylor scientific approach, that is scientific management, here is the point of challenge. As a challenge to traditional approach, he presented scientific management as a revolutionary thought, where below stated matters were considered. First, each worker should be assigned work as per his mental and physical ability. Every fingers are not equal. Every worker are not equal. We have to get them by providing them training, by observing them, To see the mental and physical ability, assign them work. Second, each worker should be instructed to perform maximum work as per category. If we have categorized A, B, C like that, if we have categorized them according to the category, we have to instruct them. A category employee will get maximum unit of production in a day. C category of employee, they will get least category of production in a day. That means we have to instruct them according to their performance to get the maximum work as per the categories which I have said, A, B, C category of employee. Third, each worker doing efficient work rapidly should be paid more wage. Example, more than 30% to 100%. Those who are working efficiently and rapidly, but obvious they want some motivation. So how we are supposed to motivate them? We can provide them more wage, 30% to 100%, like that. So by this 3 steps, the traditional approach challenged by Taylor with the help of scientific management to see the revolutionary thought of different kind of employee as a different kind of mental ability, physical ability and their capacity to do the work efficiently. So children, with the help of this, you can come to know what is the meaning and definition of scientific management and why it is required for managing the work. Which are the steps accepted by the Taylor's principle to challenge the traditional approach, to see the revolutionary thought of different category employee. Hope so you have understood the same. So let's start with the next topic, that is principle of management. As I have said, we'll discuss the introduction of Taylor, then meaning, then definition. Later on we'll discuss the principle of management. So here we are going to refer the same. So we'll start with the next point, that is 2.3.3 principle of scientific management. Here is the point. First, scientific method. Second, planning and implementation. Third, job analysis. Fourth, standardization. Fifth, scientific selection and training. Sixth, financial motivation. Seventh, economical. Eighth, mental revolution. Now, with the help of these principles, we can get the work done from others. These are the principles of scientific management, and this is the important point according to your board examination. So we'll discuss in detail. So let's start. Here is the first and second point, that is scientific method and planning and implementation. So let's see in detail. Content, scientific method, abandoning traditional method and thinking how best work can be done by analyzing work scientifically. That means traditional method is good, even we know the same, but in which way, how best work can be done, that should be analyzed with the help of scientific management. Scientifically we should analyze what to do, how to do, where to do, why to do, whom to do. These are the question comes in your mind. So for all the answer we are supposed to analyze first, forecast the same with the help of scientific management. Second, planning and implementation. Content, expert make planning and workers should follow it. That's it. Planning has done by experts, implementation should be followed by the worker. So here is the third and fourth point. We'll go together, huh? First, second, third, fourth, like that. Now third one, job analysis. Job analysis is the best way to get work done speedily with lower cost. That means with the help of spending low cost, you can get the work done in best way. That is called job analysis. It will done with the help of some studies. That is second point. After studying, time study, motion study and fatigue study. I have told you fatigue study is only one word in your textbook, but this is the wider concept. I am going to explain you, but this will not come in your exam. So you should more focus on time study and motion study, different ways study even. Fine. But job analysis, again point, job analysis is speedily work in best way with the help of lower cost. It will done with the help of some study, that is time study, motion study and fatigue study. Fourth one, standardization. Standardization should be done in advance. Why it is done in advance? Next point, equipment, time, situation of work, resources, etc. But obvious, equipment, time, situation of work, resources, these are the things which you should do advanced planning. So this is called standardization, to think advance, to think before. And the last point, matters are considered for standardization. Which are the matter considered in the standardization? Equipment, time, situation of work and resources. These are we are doing advanced planning, and even this is included in the matter of consideration in standardization. Fifth and sixth point, scientific selection and training, financial motivation. Fifth one, scientific standard, that means benchmarks like education of employee, skill, guts, physical strength, training, etc. Scientific selection, that means when we are selecting the employee, we will think about the education of employee, skill, guts, physical strength, training, etc. And on that basis, if we will provide them training, what training will do? What is the impact of training? Next point, training should be increase efficiency. Scientific selection is the above criteria, but the training, what is the effort of training? Training should be increase the efficiency of employee. So this is required according to the scientific management. Financial motivation. Financially we can motivate to the employee. How? First, skilled worker should be given financial and other kind of motivation. Those who are skilled worker, they are supposed to motivate after looking at the financial criteria or the other criteria. Second, different kinds of wage schemes have been recommended. That means, suppose, giving the example, suppose A, B, C. A category people, that means A category employee, C category employee. Who is the best according to the efficiency and efforts? A category. B is the average kind of employee. Now, at the time of increment, we will give same increment to all, 10% each? No. We have discussed 30% to 100%. That means according to their skill, wage scheme have been recommended. Those who are giving more efforts, they will get more increment. Those who are giving less effort, they will get least increment. Like that. So financial motivation is required for boosting up their efficiency. Seventh, economical. Eighth, mental revolution. Seventh one, cost estimation and cost control method should be considered. That means, giving example, your father has given you 10 lakh for starting up the business. So you will spend 10 lakh at a time for the establishment? Yes or no? But obvious no. At a time you will spend the whole amount. Later on, if you will require according to the business risk, then natural risk, man-made risk, anything happen in future then. But obvious, at the time of need you will spend. That means cost estimation कितना लगेगा and cost control कितने में चला लूँ, that question will comes in your mind. So that will called a economical concept which is required in scientific management, and it is appreciated also. Eighth one, mental revolution. Mental revolution means it reduces the stress between the owners and workers. Two groups are there, owners and worker. Conflicts going between them, between owners and worker, because of the different purpose, profit and job satisfaction. So achievement of goal is possible? No. But because of the mental revolution, you can reduce the stress. You can reduce the stress, and if you will reduce the stress, but obvious you will achieve the goal, and it become easy for all, for owner or for worker. Here are the techniques of principle of scientific management. Which other technique he asked you to introduce? Time study, motion study, different wage rate study. Fine. Fatigue is also there. Don't forget the same. Now here we are discussing the time study. First point, time study means scientific study being done for time required to complete certain part of task. You are allotted the time to complete your work. Second point, whatever time is decided to finish this work in normal circumstances is called standard time. Suppose a worker is there. To them you have given 8 hours. 8 hours. Within that hours you have asked them to give the productivity of 20 units. 8 hours, 20 unit. Fine. Now he will utilize his time in his way. He will work for 2 hours, for 4 hours, for 6 hours. His wish. His wish. He has to complete the task. That's it. He has to complete the 20 unit within 8 hours. That's it. So this is called standard time. As per Taylor, a task should be finished in prescribed time, and it's carefully study is time study. That means if to a worker I'm going to say that, see, whatever unit you will produce, on that basis I will provide you the salary. If you will produce 20, if you will produce 20 unit, I will give 500 rupees. If you will increase the productivity, I will increase your amount. So it will provoke them. It will boost them. If I am going to give more productivity, I will get more amount. So the enthusiasm you can see. So that is the good way to get the work done from others. Give the prescribed time, ask them to complete the work within that duration. If you will increase the productivity, no doubt your time will increase, but I will increase your amount on time base. So this is called time study. According to me, as compared with standard time, I hope so time study is more better. Last point, time study is useful for achieving aims timely. By this way, you can achieve the goal timely. Whatever you have decided, you have achieved timely. Should I give the example for the same? Okay. Worker A and B. Worker A is A category employee, worker B is the B category employee. To A category employee, I have said, sir, today's target is 20 unit per person. According to your efficiency, you can put up the same. But if you will increase the productivity, I will increase your amount. For 20 unit, I will pay 500. That's it. A worker is showing more efficiency. Fine. Similarly, simultaneously at the same time, to B worker, I have said, sir, 20 unit you should produce today, and within 2 hours you can do your work. I will give 500 rupees. Okay, sir, fine. He will say the same. And within that much duration, it is depending upon his performance. He is able to do the work because he is the average employee. I have told you, B category is the average employee. So he is able to give more productivity. He is having time. We have given him amount also. He will introduce more productivity, increase the productivity. I have not given the statement कि if you will increase the productivity, I will give more amount. I didn't said to be employee. So he will do his work accordingly. Today I have to complete 20 unit. Then 2 hours I will do according to my ability. That's it. He will not give his 100%. Calmly he will do the work. But same time, A category worker, I have given them opportunity. If you will increase the productivity, I will increase your amount. So he will put up his 100% or more than that to achieve the goal, because he is having the target. If I will complete the 20, then I will get more target and I will get more amount for them. So with the help of time study, you can increase the productivity and you will get the best and possible efficient work from your worker. Student, today we have completed till time study. In next lecture, we will discuss motion study, differential wage rate study and fatigue study, and other 2 points. Hope so you have understood till time study. In today's lecture, I can make you explain motion study, different wage rate study, fatigue study, but it is beyond the level actually. So I am not going to give you the burden. Refer this point in a better way. Maintain the notebook, write down the content. Have any doubt, we'll discuss in our regular lecture. Thank you for the day. Again, we have done the Frederick Taylor's introduction with the help of diagram even, meaning, definition, principle of scientific management, 8 points were there, and technique of principles of scientific management, but only 1 point we have discussed, that is time study. Thank you for the day.